Any comments on the agenda for tonight?
Under your first thing, special use permits in ag districts, the only thing it says here is please add special use permits in ag districts to the agenda for Monday the 20th. So what does that mean?
Well, I'm going to discuss the process and where we are and see if we want to make additional changes in the process.
Except that we discussed it once. We didn't vote on it. We agreed to send the letter out that you drafted. The next time we met, we said, geez, we didn't vote on it. So we had different proposals up, and we voted on it, and we passed it.
Uh-huh.
And since the town board did that, those letters should have gone out,
Okay.
because we passed a resolution to do that. And if we want to do something different in the future, we can do something different in the future. You can throw the law out, you can change the law, you can do whatever you want to do. But until the town board says to do something different, I'm not thinking that we should be doing something different.
Well, we might say that upstairs.
I know that, but this is,
I hear what you're saying. You're saying you delayed it and I didn't have the right to delay it.
I would think everybody already knows my position. Don't need to state positions back over again. Talking about the procedure that we went through to do something. And we went through it, and we had our discussion here, and we passed it, and we were going to have the town clerk send out letters that she was supposed to send out, and code enforcement send the other out. And then whatever happens beyond this boardroom happens, and we decide that, oh, wait a minute. So let's change that, if we want to change that, but change it in the regular process. Not all of a sudden say, well, you know what, hang on, I changed my mind. I just, because that means you could do it on anything. We sit here and we vote on something. A couple days later, I throw an email out. Hang on, wait a minute. Stop. I don't want to do this. Every single thing that we do, we change.
So I think a couple things, in my opinion, is I think one thing we did that was not probably the right thing to do, I shouldn't say probably, it was really not the right thing to do, is we had the vote down here, it wasn't on the agenda, it really should have been on the agenda, and it really should have been done upstairs. So that's one reason why I think it's justified to relook at what our decision was, and maybe hold off a little bit. And this isn't the first time we, through email, said, hold it, maybe we need to relook at something, and let's hold off before we execute, and then continue a conversation at the next meeting publicly. So, and that's kind of what we're doing.
Voted on something.
What's that?
I'm not sure that that's happened after we voted on something. We may have talked about something and said, let's do this, but then something else came up. And if we constrain ourselves to talking about only what's on the agenda, at times, the town will come to a traffic jam or a halt. Because there are going to be things that come up that need to be addressed.
I agree.
They have to be taken care of.
This wasn't one of them, though.
No, but it was something that was hanging out there that we had already agreed on, but somebody said, you know what, we didn't vote on it. So we kicked it around again, and we had a lengthy discussion.
I will concede you are right. If there's a vote, and I'll take responsibility, I probably should not have tried to hold it up. You're right, and we shouldn't do that. And going forward, we won't do that again.
We can have a discussion, but I just don't know. I mean, you have something on there on the agenda. I don't know what it really is. I see Mike specifically has something on the agenda, and that's fine, and we can have that discussion, and that's an ongoing process. But as that process goes on, we're still left over here with our laws that are in place today that apply to whatever's going on in the town today, no matter if it's this law or any other law. And until the law is changed, the law is the law.
I think what you're saying is right. We had a vote and it was the law. I should not have delayed it. And going forward, I won't do that again. I think what Mike's saying is right as well. It was made in haste, and I think if we can go back in time, it wouldn't have been done. And so we're going to try to correct it upstairs.
I think we can combine those two agenda items as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you're right. So let's move forward, unless there's anything else on this topic. Because Ray, in full honesty, I understand your frustration. And what you're saying is right. You can't do that when you feel like it, and I did it when I felt like it. So you're right. Next topic? Anything else?
Yeah, can we just review the authorization for the Teamsters? Was this Jennifer that we did back in January?
The Teamsters agreement is the salary schedule change. Remember how we added steps 1 and 2?
In January.
We added new steps
Okay, that one I get.
to hire the new parks maintenance
Yep.
worker too, Dave
No,
Cole.
that's the next
And
topic.
so that's the official agreement
Okay.
that needs to be signed by the town and signed by the union. And the other one is the one about Jen.
We did that back
We
in
did that, but
January.
we also had not appointed her to the position of recreational leader.
All right.
Right.
Just back on, I think it's the Gen one, let me see here, where the actual date effective, the one is, the date effective is at the end of this year, right?
That's the end of, it should have been January 1st. I guess I didn't read it because I knew
Yeah,
what it
it
was.
says-
Should be
it says-
January 1st, 2017. Where are we here, under communications?
The first one is effective, it looks like 2018. Or am I misreading it?
No. It's the memorandum is, you plug in the date. Should be the first day of January.
Yes, and it's effective January 1st, 2017. The FedEx day, the CBA should be deemed hereby amended to blah, 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 blah. That takes
Yeah,
forward,
that's
effective
right.
1st, January 17, January 17. We'll see.
I guess, what's this 1/12/2018 though?
Where's that?
One, two, this one here.
Well, on the Teamsters one.
Yeah, on the Teamster, sorry, yeah.
Hey,
And for
I think
the
that's,
park maintenance
that's next
manager.
year's salary. That's
Okay.
2018, assuming that the
This
methodology
changed.
takes place of the 2% or the 1.75% or whatever the case may be. That
Okay.
you probably only need the 2017 salary schedule because the 2018 will change just like everybody else's, either 2% or 1.75%.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
Both of these we agreed to as part of the budgeting process, so it's all budgeted for and we should be okay then, it sounds like.
Right.
Correct?
I guess I just didn't read this all the way through. Peter, it says right down here at the bottom, inconsistent sections of the collective bargaining agreement effective January 1st, 2015. That's- Oh, that's the date of the contract, that's why.
Yeah.
Got it, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and the contract has different rates that go out for 3 years instead of 5 years, so
Yeah.
obviously this is superseding the
Yeah.
contract, that's the point of that language.
Okay.
And there has to also be with that upstairs a resolution appointing, what's her name?
Yeah, that's it.
It's on.
It's it.
Right. And I think it's important to say that even though we're into the year, we had already budgeted this.
Yeah,
and
we agreed to do that, it just,
Do we have to do the same?
paperwork wise, it wasn't done.
No,
Liz?
I think she's already there.
Okay.
Liz
So
is,
the-
Liz,
the
Liz
there's
isn't
no
changing,
memo for the appointment.
Liz isn't changing her title.
Okay.
Her title is moving in the salary schedule.
If you don't do number one, then you can't do A. On the agenda, we have it listed as one and then, or two and then A.
Right.
If you don't do two, then you can't do A. So
Right.
that's why there's no, that's what Peter said.
Mhm.
We all set there? Pavilion, can someone refresh my memory, is this in the budget as well? Was it money set aside for the budget?
Money that's proposed to be taken out of the Parks and Recreation Trust and Agency account.
Okay,
so it's
We went through this whole scenario, probably dating back about 3 years now, about trying to get something out there and how would we do it, and then it got a little bit more to the point of, okay, let's think about doing this. We have that money that's sitting there, we could put something in the park and it'd be good for just people in the park, even if people are just walking or whatever the case may be. And so Chris did most of the legwork in the beginning on it to try to figure out how could we do this in a way that wouldn't make us go out to bid on it.
So if I could jump in to set this, we might as well jump into this discussion. So we talked among this group several times about the pavilion, and we were generally for it. And we thought, well, can't we do this in a more creative way?
Wait a minute, who was for it? Nobody was for it.
Well,
You
let's
shot it
talk
down.
about it. No, we did not. A million.
Absolutely.
Can I finish my comments first, please?
Yes.
$1 million facility, I was against.
No,
Can we finish my comments? I don't know what you're so upset about.
I'm not upset. It's
Dear
just
God,
tell
what
the
nerve
truth.
did I touch? Take it
Well,
easy.
'cause you-
Take it
you-
easy. Let's finish the comments, sir. We talked about the need for a pavilion, and we walked around. Ray and I in this room said, look, if we could figure out a way to get people in the community to contribute, that's the way to do it. Bev reached out to the baseball folks. I had him in my office. I think we have a solution now.
That's good for you.
Okay, let's go back to Chris's old plan of spending $1 million on a secret strategy.
Let's have a real talk with the baseball league and figure out. And
I think we're
ask
there.
them-
Ray, will you
ask
please jump
them-
in?
It wasn't $1 million, it was
No, this solution was done
600.
2 years ago.
So why wasn't it done then? I think
Because
we're
you
there
guys
now.
shot it down. Yes,
No,
you
Are,
did.
no, we did not. What are you talking about? What did we shoot down? Express yourself.
Hey, listen.
Articulate.
Listen, if it's getting done, I'm happy.
No, let's talk about it. What did we shoot down? When was there a vote?
Arguing about it.
When was there a vote?
If it's getting done, I'm happy.
For the record, and it's on tape, you guys were against it at first. There's no doubt about it.
Of course. You have to do things the right way. And I've been talking to Ray. Ray, correct or incorrect?
The old board approved.
Ray, correct or incorrect? What are you guys talking about?
We're talking
I
about
don't
the
even know
fact that.
why this is.
I have no idea
I
either.
don't know why you've blown this into such a big thing.
Just a second.
Whoa. I said to this gentleman, we have a strategy, and he suddenly jumped in my throat.
It was approved.
What are you talking about? Let's have a vote. Let's talk. I think we have a solution now. We've all talked to these folks, and we're in the right direction. If you're trying to politicize something,
Not politicized.
Ray,
I'm
have
happy.
we been talking about this, yes or no?
That's a yes answer.
Okay, now please continue.
Accept that. Chris, tried to get together numbers to do this without going out to bid. And we were unsuccessful, and the reason we were unsuccessful is because it was suggested that we had to lump more things together than we thought we really had to lump together. So, our only option was to go out to bid, and we then got an architect on board who drew up the plans that was necessary for a bid. We sat around, Chris, myself, I forget the gentleman's name, that's bad that I forget his name, and John Whitney, and we kind of figured it out, and we wrote it all up, and they put it out to bid with the 3 different options. Kind of a base building, and a building that was kind of enclosed, and then a building that was completely done. And the bids came back at ridiculous numbers. I think the cheapest one was $500,000, the most expensive one was 600 and change, high 600s. And we said, we're not doing that. We all said we're not doing that. And it sat by the wayside for a while. And then I had a conversation with John. Chris and I had a conversation first, and then I had a conversation with John to say, John, can't we just break this up? Can't we figure out how to do this? And so we sat down and we decided that, yes, we could do it if we only put up the pavilion, the shell, if you want to call it that. Like if you look at Miracle Leagues, without the concrete underneath it. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a pole barn, essentially. It's not enclosed, it doesn't have soffits underneath, it's just poles and a roof.
Like the
And-
things you see now.
and-
You see it
and in
right
doing
now.
that,
Yeah.
We went out and got 3 quotes for materials that you should have gotten, I sent to you. And out of those 3 quotes, Glencoe was the lowest, and they are below the thresholds of having to go out to bid. They fit in the procurement policy of 3 written requests and 3 written quotes. And it's suggested that we buy the material. The town will buy the material. And then we got lucky because I thought the next thing was going to have to be, okay, now we got to figure out for somebody to erect the material that we bought. Unbeknownst to me, Little League was going on the same path of trying to get a pavilion built. So I got a hold of the 2 guys in Little League that I know and said, this doesn't make sense for us to go in parallel. We should converge. We did. We had a meeting. They brought up the fact that there's a gentleman that's involved with both them and football. Mike Gardner, I believe mentioned that they'd be willing to volunteer their labor to put this thing up, and I thought that was, holy cow, you kidding me, this whole thing? Well, we had a meeting with him, and he said, yeah, we could do that, I can bring in 4 or 5 guys, we'll put it up, and it's good for us, because that means we don't have to go out of the picket line. We get points for putting this up, and that means for like a year or 2 years, they don't have to go out of the picket line. And they'd much rather be doing work like that than stand on a picket line. So it looks like it's ready to go. The town would buy the materials and schedule him to put it up. The engineering department will do the site work, meaning, okay, we gotta raise this up to a certain level because we don't want it to be underwater when we eventually put the concrete in there. So
I think it's a brilliant solution. We've all been trying to find a solution for this. I pointed them to say, listen, I talked to the guys. I said, you talk to Ray. I think he's trying to spearhead this. I think we're ready to have a vote, and the way we're doing this is in phases is the right way.
It's the only way we can do it.
It's the only way.
If we try to do it all together, it becomes a capital improvement project, and the capital improvement project over $30,000 has to be bid out.
Now, if you were to propose the other way we talked about doing it, I would vote no again right now. This is a smart solution.
Well, it would cost us way too much money.
Exactly.
And
So if that's what Chris is saying I'm
that's-
against, I still am against it. But this is the right way to do this. This is a smart way, a creative way to do it.
What kind of savings are we talking about?
I have a
Ray?
question.
Oh,
Hundreds of
sorry.
thousands of dollars.
I think a really good solution. What my question is, and I know this is the Carpenters Union, people that are gonna be putting it up. So I'm sure we have assurances that if we buy all this $14,000 worth of equipment, that we're, a contract or some sort
We're
of
not in a
agreement.
contract, no.
So what if we
What
buy
would
all
happen
this?
if they back out?
Yeah, we'll just send the
I
materials
guess
back.
we would go a different route and try to get it erected in some fashion, either with volunteer work, or maybe we could pay town of renowned personnel who are very well versed in these kinds of things overtime to put it up, and it would cost us money, but the amount of money that's coming out of I don't have the number in front of me, 157,000, I think it is in trusted agency. So there'd be plenty of money there to erect. Do we have a guarantee that that the Carpenters will put up? No, we don't.
That's the risk.
And I don't think we're gonna get a guarantee. I don't think I can go to this guy and say to him,
feel
you need to
confident that
guarantee that
this
you're gonna put this up for me.
No, but I mean, you have.
Yeah, we have full confidence. He put the football
That's
thing
all I'm
up
asking.
by himself.
So
Awesome.
they
all I'm asking.
they said to me straight to my face, let us do it this way, and we will get it done. So I believe that they'll get it done. I think us getting out of their way and helping, encouraging them, will get it done. So I think we're going to vote upstairs, correct, on this?
Oh, yeah, that's all right. I will present it upstairs, and if there's any more comments and whatever, we can do that. Mike, you had a question, how much will it save?
Yeah,
By
by them doing that volunteer work, that's huge.
Well, yeah, and if you think about the fact that see, I don't have the original number in front of me, but it was over $500,000, and that was for the pavilion, like we're going to put up, a concrete slab, and stubbed in lines for water, wastewater, and electric. Nothing else but just stubbed in, some pipes, some conduit in there. That was going to be it. So if we talk about putting the concrete in after the fact, and we're talking 100 by 40, that's 4,000. And even if we go with all the site work that John Whitney talked about and everything like that, if we go $10 a square foot,
Right.
that's $40,000 for the concrete. So $40,000 for the concrete and 14 or whatever.
Yeah, John had sent us
15,000.
the numbers.
15,000. That's $55,000 that we just put a pavilion up. It was going to cost us over $500.
Yeah.
So if we get it up in stages as well, the worst case scenario is, hey, we take a pause, we put up the walls later, we put up this later.
We're talking about
So,
putting garage
yes,
doors on it.
Right.
So without the concrete there, it's still functional, not a problem.
You can go underneath it. It's
Just
a
like
cover.
grass.
a pavilion,
cover.
It's
yeah,
grass.
just
It's a
like the
cover.
pavilions that are in
Yeah,
the
that's what I
Riley.
thought. I just double
Yeah,
checked.
it's grass, and
Potatoes under.
hopefully we can get it going so maybe the concrete gets in there sooner rather than later.
So with that being said, I think we should, can we transfer over to the Miracle League issue?
I just have one
Go
more
ahead,
question
sure.
because I was connected last time. because last time what was connected was the roof and for the
Concession stand?
discussion stand. That's still going forward.
Well,
right?
I just saw Tommy today, and he said, what's going on with that? And I said, Tommy, did you put it on the agenda? Well, I sent you guys an email. I said, no. In order for the town board to act on something, you need to put it on the agenda. You have a recommendation from you and John that we take a certain company, because you went out with your procurement policy like you're supposed to, and you come back with a recommendation to the town. You put that on the agenda, the town board votes on it. He said, it'll be on the next agenda.
We got the quotes.
You got everything.
So I was just wondering where that fell because
It didn't.
it was connected last time.
No, it won't be
Yeah.
connected now.
So it's two separate.
Yeah, later
comes
on,
out.
we hope to have a connection that's about maybe 10 feet wide, that you'd be undercover coming from the concession stand area to this pavilion and back and forth. But at this particular point, we're
They're two
only
different
putting up.
projects.
Yes, they're different projects, and one,
Different
the fact
budgets,
that
too.
one's coming out of trust and agency, the other one should be coming out of fund balance, because originally, that money was in the budget, it didn't get done, and so of course, it just goes back into fund balance, so we'd be taking that money out, kinda, that's actually 2 years after the fact.
So he said put on the agenda. I would assume.
He said he'll put it on the agenda for April.
Great.
That's my question.
Anything else? Okay, the Miracle League shelter, I'm gonna give an update on that. I know you guys want to discuss this with them. The goal is to get usage for Little League and maybe for the town, et cetera, et cetera. After discussing with them, I have an opinion on this that I want to share before we go any further. I strongly believe we should just let it be. Let them use it. Use the playground for the town. And not pursue this any further. If you guys disagree, you can do it on your own, but after talking to some representatives of the Miracle League, I do not think it's... Let them use the facility. It's going well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We have plenty of facilities to use. We don't usually use their facility. Now, if you guys disagree, feel free to reach out, but that was the opinion conveyed to me, and it made sense after discussing it with them.
Well, I'd like to hear their reasons. I'd like to them, like we said before, at least I would, I don't know with other board members, but I don't want to talk to them individually. I would like them to come to a board workshop and sit down and discuss the usage of, I think it's kind of separate, the usage of the field. I can understand it's a little bit different than the usage of the pavilion. So I'd like to discuss about that and see where that goes and what their concerns are, and can we meet some of their concerns? I mean,
If we're building the pavilion, and we talked a lot about, well, we gave them this and there was a deal. Well, the reality is, it's a great deal for the town to have that here as well. It brings a lot of people here. It's popular off the island as well. People love it, and they have ownership interest in it. And there's a lot of people that are involved in it that don't want to share it. They want to have it the way it is.
It's a little bit like the volunteers that built the concession stand, saying that that's baseballs. And in fact, it is not baseball. It is the town.
It's quite different.
And it's able, no, they built that concession stand with volunteer labor, 100% volunteer labor.
They also gave us a $250,000 playground for free that the town uses every single day. The Miracle League. I mean, how far do you want to push this?
I want to ask, you know my opinion, I already stated my opinion, the other 3 board members can state their opinion.
Well, I'd like to hear from the other 3 board members.
I don't see a problem with having an open discussion on it. Especially, I mean, the field where they're putting 10,000 a year in, et cetera, that's theirs. I mean, they, I think, should rule the roost there. The pavilion, I mean, if it's open, it's not being used, I think there might be an opportunity
Can I
there for the
softly
town.
suggest that we reach out to them first as individuals and talk to them instead of having the theater of bringing them in here? I mean, it doesn't hurt you guys. You know who they are. Give them a call. That's what I would suggest. And I talked to them individually, and I said, look, I don't think there's a big interest to come in and to address the town in this matter. If you guys want them to come in, reach out to them. But I would rather not engage at this point. And I would encourage you guys to reach out to them individually. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We don't really need access to that facility. We're building a new facility right now.
Joe Mentor sent us an email saying that he would like to use that pavilion in the
I
summertime
get it.
for his sports craze. And it sits there all day long, nobody's in it, nobody's gonna hurt it,
Seems like an opportunity.
They maintain it, they use it.
they
So-
do not maintain it.
Okay, so what's the consensus? You want me to bring them in to talk about this?
I'm not gonna talk anymore, I told you, I already
Chris?
have my opinion.
Okay,
No, I don't even.
okay. I don't either. I don't want them to come in either. I think it's not worth the discussion. Bev? It's a good thing if it serves the community as is. Does a town desperately need access to it? I'd say no. Let them have it. It's a completely separate thing. They enjoy it. It brings a lot of happiness to a lot of kids. It's in good working condition. It's a beautiful facility. Do we really need to have sports grade have their parties in there? I'd say no.
I don't think they're having their parties in there.
Or do we need to have sports grades to access to it?
I think it would be fine. What's it gonna hurt for them to be able to go under a pavilion, to get out of the sun, or to get out of the rain, or just to sit down and calm down
Well,
for
we're
a
going to
little
have
bit?
our own pavilion soon.
No, they're gonna have, there's different areas over there.
Well, I don't think we need to go to touch Miracle League. I think we leave it alone.
If you wanna leave their diamond along and take that off the discussion table, I can say, I can be fine with that. I don't have any problem with that. I would still think that it would be possible for little kids in sneakers to be able to use that field and not hurt the field at all. But if there's an idea that maybe they would, all right, I can see that. But I just don't see the use of the pavilion by either our recreation department or even by outside groups wanting to rent it. And if that money's supposed to go to Miracle League, then that money can go to Miracle League. Whatever the contract calls for, that's fine.
Okay, I'll float this idea by them, see if they're interested in discussing that.
There is a sign on there that I read myself that says if you wanna use the pavilion to contact our Parks and Recs department.
But it's not in place.
The process
The
is.
process is.
process
So that's
is-
really all Ray is saying.
The process isn't in place, and in fact, when
I
I called,
think that-
when I called the recreation department, I didn't call, asked the recreation department about using it for a track end of year, like picnic award ceremony, they said, well, I don't know. So I got a hold of the president at the time, and he said, yeah, go ahead, just give us a donation or something. So I wrote him $100 check. But there's no process, there's no register, like, if I wanna get it and I want it for,
Okay.
May
Ray,
31st,
I don't mind that. It's a small town, and calling them up and saying, hey, can I use your thing? Let's work something out. We don't need to have everything so legalistic and
it's
nailed
not
down.
legalistic, it's just a matter of having a process in place where you would approach, I guess, the Parks Department and say to them, I would like to reserve that pavilion on this particular date at this particular time. And they would say, no, you can't. The Miracle League's there that day. Or yes, you can. But if the Miracle League happens to come up with an extra game or event, you may be asked not to be there because we know that Miracle League has the right of first usage.
I used to have a cabin, and I never went there. And my friends would sometimes say, hey, can I go use your cabin? We'll keep it clean. And I'd be like, nah, it's my cabin. I think that's the situation here. I don't think they want us to use their cabin, and I'm cool with that.
Except it's not theirs.
It's a big town. It's a big park.
It's not theirs. The baseball diamonds are not Little League's diamonds. The soccer fields are not Grand Island Soccer League's field. The football field is not the football fields.
They built it. They maintain it.
Oh,
They did. Okay, what does the board want to do? I don't have the control. I think it's fine the way it is. I don't think we have to delve into this any deeper. I don't think it's a pressing issue.
I don't think it hurts to, at least for the pavilion, to reach out and see what what they want
I
their
would
process.
think, I would think they would agree to
Not
it.
what,
Okay,
not
we
force
got
our
three-
process onto them, but to see what their process is. At least
Okay,
then we know
I will reach
what
out to them and
is.
talk about their pavilion if they want to come and talk about it with us. I would ask you guys to reach out to them yourself and see if
is that what we're gonna do?
Actually-
We each gotta call these guys and ask them and see what the story is and get whatever answer. We're gonna call the same
Well,
person
it's
so
not
we
like
get the
it's-
same answer? Or can we just,
Okay, would you prefer that every time we have an issue, we call people in and have them report to the court here?
oh,
Go ahead.
that's,
What are you saying, Mike?
What I would propose, a simple memo, just send it to them, say, we propose that this is how we manage that, just only the pavilion, and the process would be, right of first refusal for the Miracle League. We'll continue to maintain that facility in excellent condition. And if it's available and some other group wants it, we'll make that available to them, and we'll work with the Miracle League going forward
Okay,
to schedule it.
I'll call the Miracle League and see if they want to talk about this.
You can actually switch that process around and say, we would like to know what your process is, because we have no idea what it is.
Yeah,
So that at least puts it
Right.
on the table, so you
right,
know.
start the discussion. But have the discussion, it doesn't seem like it's that intrusive to me.
I just think it's unnecessary. I think that
Who are we supposed to call? Do you have the person's name and phone number we're supposed to call?
I think you start with RJ Wynn.
Do you have his number, Nate?
Yeah, I do. I'll share it offline. Property division.
We didn't do number 2.
Okay, go ahead. What's number 2?
I don't know, I didn't put it on there.
Golden Age Club hire.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You good point. I always do that. I'm sorry. We need to grant permission for Barbara Gannon to hire the following 2 people. Step B, $9.93 an hour. Denise Labar and Susan Quaglina.
Are they in the budget? Were they in the budget?
I believe it's
Okay, seasonal.
yeah, it's
Oh, is that
Yeah.
one of those seasonals? So they are in the budget then?
Why did she not get it to the agenda in time?
No.
Is that why this is on?
That's
there?
right.
Called on Friday. But I don't have the numbers. Do you have
If it's again, if you're, we can make a special resolution upstairs, do it upstairs.
Yeah, we should do that.
But they're seasonal.
That today for her. I'll forward you the email with the names. Is that
Okay, we'll suspend the
Yeah,
rules
I
upstairs and do it upstairs.
Oh, I thought she
And
CC'd
it is,
everybody.
I'm hearing it is.
I didn't even know it was on tonight's
Yeah, it's a
agenda.
seasonal
Me
hire.
You get the rates?
What's that?
You get the rates here?
What?
I sent an updated agenda.
Yes, it's $9.93 an hour. We'll do it upstairs if you guys are interested in doing it.
I'm suspended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you'll have to suspend the rules.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Property division. We have to approve a request for property division of real estate owned by Frank Sizek, 2166 Long Road. Both Judy and Doug have reviewed and see no issues.
Exception of subdivision rules, is that right?
Why wouldn't this be, this is being done upstairs or not? It's not being done upstairs.
Who'd that-
It's
who'd
just
that
a-
come
No, it's not.
Who'd
It
that
doesn't
one
have to
come
be.
from?
It's just a
Yeah, that
housekeeping
should-
thing.
It's just a division of a household property.
That's what usually
Frank
Did
Sizek.
it come from, did it come from the assessor? Did it come from
Yeah.
the property owner? Who did it
The
come from?
assessor.
The assessor?
Mhm.
That should be on our regular agenda.
Yeah,
All right.
just
I mean,
in
if-
case, there could be something
then that's my
there that
fault.
we
I
don't
didn't know
know about.
No, you're right.
They know it.
That may require
Doug knows.
neighbor
always
notification,
comes to the
who
agenda.
knows?
You're right.
Yeah.
We'll hold that off. It's not
Well,
urgent anyway.
well, it is urgent,
Why
because
is it urgent?
they're holding off on a purchase. They need to do this so that a purchase can go through.
What's the purchase?
How did the house?
Oh, it's
Mr.
nice.
Cezak, Frank Cezak passed away, and
Yeah.
they're selling the house as a for sale sign.
Yeah, the
And
contract
there's
is,
an empty lot next door, so they probably want to divide the property so that they can sell the house.
that's exactly it.
Okay, so if it needs to be done, let's just suspend the rules and add that upstairs also.
Is there any chance that a neighbor would have a problem with this, do you think?
And
Well-
even if a neighbor had a problem with it,
We'd probably still pass it.
was within his rights to do it.
Engineering and building and the assessor office have all signed off on it,
Okay.
saying it was okay.
Right.
I'm sorry they didn't tell me.
But I think Mike brought up some good issues. We should try not to do it like this. So, are we going to do it?
Yeah, we gotta put those types of items upstairs.
It's an
Anything that
exception to
requires a
subdivision
vote.
regulations.
No,
They're
it's
just,
just
they're just dividing property.
dividing the property.
Right, so that'd be a minor subdivision, right? And then the town code gives us the ability to, rather than requiring a site plan, just do an exception to subdivision regulations. Probably what it is. I mean, I don't see what's in the agenda.
They all looked at it, I don't know why they didn't.
One probably
Somebody-
thought the other was gonna put it on the agenda, and one thought the other was gonna
I'm
put it on
sure
the
that's what
agenda.
happened.
And nobody put it on the agenda, it
I'm
just
sure
fell
it's
through the
that.
cracks.
And they said it
Really
was
not
no
a real big deal.
It's not, and if it's gonna, let's just do it upstairs. I'll just suspend the
The
rules
last
twice.
thing-
Honestly, I always
Created a
get
book
those memos, they always come through the agenda.
I had them all look at it, they all signed off on
Doug,
it.
so Doug thought it was good?
Yeah, they all said it was good.
I mean,
Engineering,
I
building,
assume
and
that means
assessment.
that they'll be conforming lots when they do it, they won't be, neither lot will be too small. So, that's pretty common for the board to do exception to subdivision.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about, we talked, I don't know where the board stands on this, or each member of the board. I've talked to members of the board individually. I'm very interested in pursuing the community center to go forward with some hardcore plans on that, and to work towards an RFP for it. I think we have to manage the process, and I put a lot of time in the last week trying to think about how we can manage the process in a way that works, including a possible referendum. Some of you have spoken about a referendum, the requirement of the referendum for a project of this size. What I suggest we do, just so we can manage the process and work together, is we talked about bringing people in to do steering committees for us and run through the steering committee process and have people get public feedback. I suggest we appoint this board as the steering committee, just for the sake of its efficiency, and then appoint with me as the chair, and that we work through the RFP process together, to skip that and to go forward with that. And once the RFP is done, we can go forward and get more feedback from potential developers throughout the community. Your thoughts on that?
I also been working on this. I'm working on this for years. And most recently, I've had conversations with various people and groups, most notably people down at Golden Age, people at Recreation, and some of the sports groups, along with other people in the community, and have tried to get what they believe is necessary for us to run our programs on Grand Island, recreation-wise, and senior citizens, of course, as part of recreation. And in doing that, I actually asked the senior citizen staff, and I think it was mostly Jen, to put together a list of their needs. I said, I understand wants. I get wants. Everybody wants a $50 million facility. The board's not interested in a $50 million facility. At least I don't believe they are. So put together your needs, and Joe put together your needs, and other people in the community. What do you as a sports group think you're interested in needing? And in doing that, I got a whole bunch of stuff, and then I took pencil to paper, and I said, okay, they say they want a kitchen of about this size, and they want a multi-use building about this, and this, and I drew up a sketch plan. Right? Not to scale or anything like that. Just drew up a sketch plan. Okay, we need a gym of this size. We need a kitchen this size. We need a meeting room this size. We need an office over here and a police office over there and stuff like that. Put that all together. And I know you want to have, at least some people on the board, want to have more community input. And I'm thinking we can get that. But how far do we really want to go? Because we don't know what this thing is going to be, what it's going to cost. And if we put that needs thing out, that little picture, and say, it doesn't have to be that picture, but those things that are in there, that's what we need. That's what we want you to come back and give us a proposal on. And those proposals might come in at something that's reasonable. $5, $6, $7 million. It might come in at $12, $15, $18 million, in which case we might go, okay, I guess we can't even meet our needs. So do we want to pare it down to something a lot smaller? Or do we just want to wait and see how we could fund something of that cost? If it does come in at a reasonable number, let's say $8 million or less, let's just use that as a number. If it comes in at a reasonable number, then we can go back out to the community and say, okay, listen, we've got a proposal that says we can do this for the community, and we'll give you this, and this for this amount of money. And it's going to cost you on your taxes this amount of money. And the community can say, oh, what are you doing that for over there? What's the point of doing that? Knock that off and you save $500,000. Or they say, well, you forgot something. What about, I'll say, what about a pool? Well, so we left the pool off because the pool's really expensive to build and it's expensive to maintain. And if 2,000 people come to us and say, look, we think a pool for Grand Island is important. You need to put a pool on there. Okay, we put a pool in. But it's a starting point for the discussion rather than just a nebulous, we don't have anything. What do you want? Well, I want this, and I want that. I want a hockey rink. No, we're not putting up a hockey rink. So I think this is a way to get it started, and it gives us an idea then of the possibilities that are out there. Who's gonna propose something to us? Where's it gonna be? What's it gonna look like? And how much is it gonna cost?
So you're agreeing with what Nate's saying as far as getting this committee together? I'm for that.
Well, but what-
I think we need to get not a referendum, RFP together.
Yep.
And a general feel for, based on community input, what we want, get an RFP, and then talk to the community about, geez, this is kind of what it's starting to look like.
Yeah, I think that they have something that's a little bit more concrete rather than a community center. A community center can be all the way from this to
So this is
that.
one thing, so I thought of putting pencil to paper and actually drafting an RFP. Now, there's 3 models, right? One is we do that, do it ourselves. Peter and I get together a couple hours, take the stuff you got, take some other input, put it together, throw an RFP out there. The other method is the method we talked about where we bring in some mastermind to go through a whole long process of getting community input and having public hearings, blah, blah, blah. I think there's a possible middle ground. Now there's construction management. And I know from my private life, these people are extremely helpful. They don't do all the process and getting the input, but they can write RFPs. And more importantly, they're professional services providers, they're building management companies that can come in when we actually choose someone and can watch them. Because none of us are experts in construction. This is the part where I get a little nervous about, because none of us have that background, and I don't believe the town has that background. I don't believe anyone in this building has that background, and I know because I've been trying to put together an RFP with them, and everyone is scared. We're going to need someone when the time comes and we actually choose a builder to watch the builder and say, hey, you're not following the architectural design. Hey, these finishes are wrong. Hey, your subcontractor's screwing us. And I think we should consider, we don't need to do this by RFP, by the way, it's professional services. Looking at a couple people that we can bring in, take the stuff you have, take the stuff I have, Bev, Mike, give that to them, have them put the RFP together for us, which could be a reasonable cost to do that, pretty reasonable cost. And then when we actually choose someone, hire them for a percentage of whatever the final build out is to manage the build out. Because what we don't want to do is put all our trust in some party.
Why would we bid for you're saying it's professional services? I'm not convinced that's that limited. It's not a specialist thing, it's something that's very common out there. Seems like we would.
Construction management?
Construction management is professional
management
service.
is professional service.
So we can just choose somebody.
You get campus who did the capital project over at the school. You have other.
Do you hear what I'm saying though, Ray? I think this protects all of us. Go ahead, Bev.
I'm gonna use your phrase, Ray's phrase.
Ray's phrase.
You all probably know how I already feel about this.
That's a good phrase, Bob.
That is a good phrase.
We're doing a couple of
I'm gonna
30-minute
keep it.
speech.
I have been one of those people that have, championed that doing a feasibility study and, going through that process of public opinions and, the one step after another. I still believe in that. But I thought, for me, as a compromise, I still would want some sort of professional overseeing this project. I wouldn't be comfortable overseeing it myself. I don't know if anybody else is here comfortable doing that. So I could go that far.
I just.
Because I really think that a project of this size can go sideways so easily.
Quick.
And I would hate to see that happen. I really do want to see something happen. I do want to see, and I think each one of us thinks that we know what the public wants. And, I'm not so sure that's true, but I'll certainly put my 2 cents in too with Ray's and Nate's and Chris's and Mike's. But I would certainly think the RFP and overseeing the project, that we do need somebody to do that, to keep it together, to keep it from going sideways. For me, that's a big compromise because I still would like to do the feasibility. I know the rest of you don't want to, so, but I do think that we need more professional help than just this people at this table.
I think what Nate said about the last step of the project, if you wanna call it that, the actual awarding of the RFP, and then the overall oversight of the construction to make sure we're getting what the developer proposed, because it's no different than a house being built. If the guy says that he's gonna give you he's gonna give you 2x6 walls, but you don't ever visit the site until the drywall's up, you don't know if you have 2x6 walls.
Right.
So you have to pay attention to that. I agree with that. I don't know if you need them at the beginning, because then we're spending money that I don't know if people come back and tell us this is a $15 million project, and nobody's less than that, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. So why would we
That's a
spend
valid
money
point.
to get all that
But
together?
don't you
If we
think-
just write quickly, I'll be done quick, I think. If we just write the RFP in general terms of this is what we're looking for, please give us something that looks like this. Doesn't have to be exact, it has to look like that. And you have the developer come in and propose, all right, I got this and I got this, and by the way, I changed this over here because I don't like where your bathrooms are. I wanna do it over here, I think it's more efficient, whatever the case may be. We take that, then we take that and go out and get opinions from wherever we get opinions from. Maybe we get an opinion from a construction manager who says, you know what, you could save some money by doing this and moving that over there and doing that. But to get them going right away, to get this all together, and I know what you're saying about the public input. The public out there wants this, wants that. We have 2 programs here on Grand Island that are running already under constraints. That's the Recreation Department under a super constraint because they don't have any facility, and the Golden Age Department, which is outgrowing their facility. I thought that place down there was okay and they could still manage. From what I'm hearing is they're doing more down there and they don't have enough space and things are getting old, which we know that they're getting old, and instead of putting money into it, you build a new spot and then you repurpose that area down there. And so those people have said, they've put a lot in for it, because we need this space and we need this space, and they can't fit enough people, there's not enough room for lunch. When
Yeah.
they have all their people
It's-
there, there's not enough room for lunch.
And by the way, when we consider these costs, whatever the cost may be, we should also consider the fact the current Golden Age Center needs considerable investment to keep running. Roof, power lines, sewer, there's all kinds of issues. So that's part of the reason why I want to do this project, because it will take care of some of that. But the thing about I hear what you're saying with the RFP, because the RFP will get us feedback. The thing is, if we can get someone to do it for a reasonable amount that does this all the time, a very small amount, to kind of help us make sure that it's professional and that we're not missing anything, we might be saving time. So can I at least call around and get some estimates about what it would cost? Because I think they're going to be able to look at our RFP and say, okay, we can put this together for you overnight, and we're going to spend a considerable amount of time, I think, struggling to get it right. So
Okay, they're already with me, and we all know that this is a request for a proposal. It's just that.
Yep.
We're requesting your proposal. You know what?
proposal.
We like your proposal, we don't like your proposal, it's too much, it's not enough, it's this, it's that, it's a give and take back and forth until you sign a contract.
And do you know what's going to get us a ton of feedback from the community? When they see the proposals.
Yeah, I think so. Because
And I
different
think the
people will
other-
come in with different proposals, and some will be like, yeah, I don't like that, that's, yeah. But
There's
that
another
will-
thing that we're doing in long-range planning. We could actually, when we do a survey, which we're gonna be doing one real soon, we could actually put questions out there with that survey.
Mm-hmm.
That, not even saying, what do you want at community center, what do you think's lacking in the community?
Yeah.
You know, and we could get feedback from a lot of people in that way too. That might be something that we partner with the long-range planning committee to get us a little more feedback without actually doing, you know, the other stuff.
So-
But I'd be more comfortable if we did have someone managing the process at least, you know, so we find out.
Well, it won't hurt to find out how much they'll charge us to do something like that. I was,
So before the next meeting, the next town board meeting, not the next workshop, I don't know when the next workshop is, but the next town board meeting, I will meet with each of you or reach out to each of you for your feedback. Ray, I'll meet with you in person. We'll go over what we have. I will also reach out to some building people, see if it's plausible. So I don't even know at this point what it would cost or if it's plausible to help with the RFP. If it's not plausible, We will put together an RFP for your review by the next town board meeting. Is it okay? Is that too, I think it's fine for your review, not for your approval.
I'll take my sketch plan and,
I'm gonna
I'll try to
catch up with
I'll
you,
try to
because I want you to
I'll try to
sketch me
scan
in
it.
there.
I'll try to scan it and send it, well, if I can. Maybe I can get Cindy down.
Just take, yeah, Cindy can help.
Ray, just out of curiosity, like, I know we've talked about the library, we've talked about the Golden Age Center, we've talked about basketball courts. Like, what's just off the top of your head that would be in this facility?
It needs a multi-use surface area. In other words, it's, you can't put hardwood floor down, because if you put hardwood floor down
expensive.
and you want people to come in for an arts and crafts show, you're gonna wreck your hardwood floor. There's floors out there that are a multi-purpose floor like that. That would be essentially what you would call your gym.
Yeah.
Because the recreation department is at the mercy of the school. The school says, no, you can't go in there. The school says, no, you know what? Spring sports season starting May 9th, you're done with your programs. You can't run any of your programs. During the holiday time, when kids are off, we can't run a recreation program. We don't have any facility to run it in except the community center down at the Nike base. So that's one. I guess I've been convinced. I wasn't convinced at the beginning, but I've been convinced now that a senior citizen facility is needed. We've got to remember, it's a multi-use thing. They're asking for an area where they can do Tai Chi and an area where they can do some other stuff. Well, that's mostly during the day, when the facility is not being used much by the general public. I mean, there might be open basketball shoot over there or something like that, but there's plenty of room. Office space, of course, kitchen, and I think you would call it a dining room, meeting room, stage. And I will give you an example.
Not a stadium seating, but an elevated space for a stage.
Right. Take a look at, we've all been in Island Presbyterian's Fellowship Center or whatever, I don't know the official title of it. Okay, so that's a big space. Don't make believe that's not a gym. Make believe that's a dining room, meeting space, a space where St. Stephen's can put on their play a little bit nicer than where they are, or anybody else can be using something like that kind of a thing. You're gonna need some offices, and then we talked about the police station. We're paying rent. It would make sense to have a police station with this building.
And it
Maybe
provides
it doesn't.
automatic
I don't
security.
know.
It provides on-site security.
And then the last thing, and this is something that the community, the recreation department and the Golden Age department hasn't said that they need, but it's something that I have gotten feedback through the years with the organizations I've been involved with and are close to, that a turf area, indoor turf area, because they're Wanda is the closest place. Epic Center in Lancaster is the next closest place. And Salem Sports Park out in Elma is the next place.
The way you described the senior citizen center, it didn't sound like you were talking about relocating the Golden Agers, though.
No.
Yeah,
That is what you're
Yes.
thinking, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. What would we do with the existing facilities is the next big
I
question.
don't know.
Probably seek funds to tear it down. It needs so much repair. I mean,
It's old.
It's-
all low.
You gotta remember that the original part is Nike base.
Are we scheduling, ball games still over at that?
Oh, yeah.
We are?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the ball field.
Yeah.
Tennis courts are good.
I'm just wondering,
Buildings, you would probably still have a maintenance building, because you would wanna maintain.
Whatever you have over there.
You have a little golf course over there, and you have the baseball fields and stuff, you gotta cut the grass. And I don't know if those other buildings could be repurposed into something, as meeting areas or storage areas, cold storage areas for people, because people are looking for cold storage. We have to remember that there's a caveat, that the only thing that land can be used for is recreational use,
and that's,
given to us by the federal government with that caveat.
otherwise they would take it back?
Otherwise, I think
or-
the federal government would probably yell at you. I don't know what would happen, Peter.
Nobody wants
They
it.
don't want it back,
Nobody
right?
wants it.
No.
We'll figure it. So go ahead, Bev.
It's just me. Those are all great ideas, but I have ideas too, so I'm assuming it's not gonna be a Ray complex, it's gonna be all of ours, right?
You're not putting
So,
my name in it, because I'm not funding it.
Well, no, I don't mean Ray complex for itself, but what I'm saying is that I have ideas too,
Yeah.
and I don't wanna, I think that you have great ideas so far, I like what you're putting in there. But it's not gonna be a sport facility, I wanna make sure it is a community center, you know, and I still, and I'm gonna say this again, y'all know how I feel about this. But I would like to look at the library as well, and not the library per se is what we know a library to be, but something that's a little bit more high tech, because a lot of books are on, you know, on e-books and all like that, but that's something that I would like to incorporate, because as a community center, we keep talking about density in the town center, and we don't want more apartments. I see this as a great opportunity to bring population into the town center.
So Bev, just a couple things. These ideas and other ideas, I don't think they're from Ray. I think they're from the
No,
community.
I didn't
So-
say that. I didn't
A
really
couple
mean
things.
that.
When we're talking to the golden age, now there may be exceptions among the membership, but in general are not just on board, excited.
I don't know, I've been down there.
They're excited about it. I talk to so many families on the island. I'm sure some of them are maybe watching this, who have to leave the island every single weekend because we don't have the facilities here, and they go to the places he talked about. Ray, you probably heard the same thing.
Yeah, baseball, football,
There's
soccer.
every weekend there's an exodus on the island of people going to these other locations. That's all revenue, by the way. That restaurant
I think this
food.
is a great starting point. And
The one thing I'll add to what he said is the library specifically requested me to come in to say we want part of this because, at least in some respect, and I told them frankly what we said. I said, look, it's going to be expensive. The more we add to this, the more expensive it gets, and the more unlikely it's going to happen. Their take is we're excited about it too, and we believe that if a library facility is in this, it'll be the most, like statistics or studies have shown that these are libraries that work the best, the ones that are included in the community centers. So that's the type of feedback I think you're talking about, that we may have to look at things going forward.
also, one of the things that, exploring it a little, is that there is funding for county libraries, and this is a county library.
I think
So
what we
it could
do
be
is,
something that would bring us some revenue, actually, for building it.
but what I'm scared about with the library piece, and I told them this as well, is libraries can become, they become really white elephant gifts if you do them
bring
wrong.
it into this
Too big.
decade.
Yeah, we have to do something that's modern if we have a
Yes.
library component.
Yes,
Something
if
that's
you go to some of the schools that are updating their libraries,
right.
you see a real different type of library.
Not like the one in Niagara
Libraries we
Falls.
know it.
Yeah, right. So
Just something to discuss.
one more point before we move on. So I think we're on agreement that before the next meeting we're going to work together to get an RFP ready. Okay. And then we'll talk.
I think the other thing though, on your point, Bev, both in terms of the senior center and the library, if we're really thinking about that, we also need to have a plan on what do we do with the existing facilities in both cases.
Yeah.
Is it an opportunity to,
Yeah.
repurpose or sell off?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heck of a building there. And I just hate for us to, for the sake of having it, continue to have it.
Well,
Because I don't
that
want,
building,
I don't
if I
want
was in
Grand
the rec
Island to slowly
department,
turn into
I'd
this
be
big mammoth,
that building.
right, I mean, property owner, I
Absolutely.
think that's bad too.
It's another piece.
Right.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay.
And that may offset and pay for.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a creative way to think about it, so.
Okay. Anything else on that subject before we go to executive session? Okay, I'll make the motion to go to executive session. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.